Uh, uh, I knew these people. These two people, they were in love with each other. The girl was very young, about 17 or 18, I guess. And the guy was quite a bit older. He was kind of ragged and wild. But she was very beautiful, you know. And together they turned everything into kind of an adventure. She liked that. Just an ordinary trip down to the grocery store was full of adventure. And they were always laughing at stupid things. You like to make her laugh. And they didn't care much for anything else, because all they wanted to do was be with each other. They were always together. And he loved her more than he ever felt possible. He couldn't stand being away from her during the day when he went to work. So he'd quit, just to be home with her. Then he got another job when the money ran out, and then he'd quit again. But pretty soon she started to worry about money, I guess, not having enough, not knowing when the next check was coming in. So he started to get kind of torn inside. Well, he knew he had to work to support her, but he couldn't stand being away from her either. And the more he was away from her, the crazier he got. Except now, he got really crazy. He started imagining all kinds of things. He started thinking she was seeing other men on the sly. He'd come home from work and accuse her of spending the day with somebody else. He'd yell at her, break things in the trailer. Yes, they lived in a trailer home. Anyway, he started drinking real bad. And he'd stay out late to test her, to see if she'd get jealous. He wanted her to get jealous, but she didn't. She just worried about him, and that got him even madder. Because he thought if she never got jealous of him, she didn't really care about him. Jealousy was a sign of her love for him. And then one night, she told him she was pregnant. She was 3 or 4 months pregnant, and he hadn't even noticed. And then suddenly everything changed. He stopped drinking, got a steady job. He was convinced now that she loved him because she was carrying his child, and he was going to dedicate himself to making a home for her. But a funny thing started to happen. He didn't even notice it at first, but she started to change. On the day the baby was born, she began to get irritated with everything around her. She got mad at everything. Even the baby seemed to be an injustice to her. He kept on trying to make everything all right for her, buy her things, take her out to dinner once a week, and nothing seemed to satisfy her. Now for 2 years, he struggled to pull them back together like they were when they first met. Finally, he knew it was never going to work out. So he hit the bottle again. And this time it got mean. This time when he came home, she wasn't worried about him or jealous. She was just enraged. She accused him of holding her captive by making her have a baby. She told him she was dreaming about escaping. That was all she dreamed about, escape. She saw herself at night, running naked down the highway, running across fields, running down riverbeds, always running, and always, just when she was about to disappear, he'd be there. He would stop her somehow. He'd just appear and stop her. And when she told him these dreams, he believed them. He knew she had to be stopped, or she'd leave him forever. So he tied a cowbell to her ankle, so he could hear it at night as she tried to get out of bed. But she learned to muffle the bell by stuffing a sock into it, and then inched her way out of the bed and into the night. He caught her one night when the sock fell out, and he heard her trying to run out to the highway. He caught her, dragged her back to the trailer, and tied her to the stove with his belt. He just left her there. He went back to bed and lay there listening to her screams. Then he listened to his son scream. He was surprised at himself because he didn't feel anything anymore. All he wanted to do was sleep. And for the first time he wished he was far away, lost in a deep, vast country where nobody knew him. Somewhere without language or streets. And he dreamed about this place without knowing its name. And when he woke up, he was on fire. Blue flames were burning the sheets of his bed. He ran through the flames towards the only two people he loved, but they were gone. His arms were burning. He threw himself out, rolled on the wet ground, and then he ran. He never looked back at the fire, he just ran. He ran until the sun came up. Then he couldn't run any further. And when the sun went down, he ran again. For 5 days he ran like this, until every sign of man had disappeared.